to supplies we should honestly have more than enough of. Fuel, well, we're going to be rationing the use of the light from here on out, because that is a lot of ground to cover, and who knows where the next good refueling spot will be. I don't really recall any good ones being in this area, but it's probably the part of the map I've explored the least, like across all the times I've played this game. So I don't claim to have them all memorized. We would actually like our terror to go down, so we're gonna go with the Locust Mask for this one. Okay, didn't gain very much. I think an intriguing snippet and a few other things, but more importantly, we lost 10 terror, so our terror is now really, really low. It's only 7. And I think we just found the pirate poet. And more stuff for us. Another unread log. Those come up in odd situations. Well, we may as well stop by Port Cavendish since the fight kind of took us in that direction. Meet with the Abbess because we have recent news this time. Get way too much stuff, I guess. The Lady of the Garden's offer. Her name, she says, is Zara. You should use it. We have not met, have we? No, this is definitely the first time, but, The Lady of Cages shakes her head sharply. Best to proceed as if it is the first, don't you think? A veil of gold mesh obscures only her eyes, leaving her glistening bitten lips bare. Perhaps 100 small silver keys jangle in a bunch at her left hip. I think we should be friends. I'm very important, you know. Or I was. No, still am. She pauses. Yes, I'm quite sure I still am. I'm going to accept her offer. It's always useful to be friends with important people, even if they're hazy on the subject. You should come back last Tuesday for another little chat. She pauses and huffs. No, that's not quite it. Come back soon? Another time. Pick a good one. There aren't enough of those. That was probably a dismissal. A request from Zara. When you enter, the Lady of the Cages is sitting on the windowsill, staring not at her gardens, but... No, staring out at her gardens. On the desk is an open casket. Within are 10 gleaming vials of red honey, carefully packed. Freshly harvested by the mellifluous sisters. Touch them, go on. They're still warm from the honey spinner. Zara turns toward you. They are for the merchant venturer over in London. You'll take them for me, won't you? Unless you already have. No, clearly not. No. You're hardly squeamish about smuggling red honey. If you change your mind, you could always turn the shipment over to the Admiralty instead. Do say hello to the merchant venturer for me, won't you? He was such an awful child. Zara's lips curve into something like a smile. I drank the memories of someone that went to school with him. You must make some sort of sound because she gives you a little shrug. I like to know my business partners. It was Leopold's idea, of course. He's very thorough. Okay, well, we're now smuggling red honey. I hope that we have enough veils to make that work. For now, we're going to explore at least a little bit around here. We did have to toss some fuel, unfortunately, which is going to limit things a bit. But we are going to explore around here a little bit, then turn up through Nuncio, Polythyreme, and Port Cecil to drop off our passenger. And then we'll see where we're at. We might have to purchase some fuel at Khan's Shadow, or if we have enough, we might even do the run between the Gant Pole and the Chalinate until they tell us we can't do that anymore. We also have the mushroom wine for the Undercrow, but that is a long ways off. Okay, we're over near Luckright's Reef. We're gonna try diving. See if there is a dog down in the sea. Because I'm not seeing one up here. Well, that looks extremely spiky. Igul. Still not hideaway, of course. The station is pinned to the surface of Igul. Once it was a roving vessel, the Fortis Kettle, and floated freely from place to place. Now it is stuck on spines of fluke rock. Okay, so we need soulless fruit to do anything with whatever that quest is. However, we can assemble a port report. You gather a description of the Fortis Kettle and a survey of its resources. You scrape away a little of the sealant, the color of amber and the texture of wax, that keeps out seawater where the hull is pierced by the spines of Igul. You sketch the arrangement of decks and hatches so far as you have been able to reach, but about the population you cannot offer much detail. The tomb colonist declines to be identified, and the traveling postman laughs at you. Okay, so what do the green ones do? A burst of viric radiance. Over the next hour, the vegetables in your galley sprout leafy fondular growths. Terra +5, but hunger is reset. Okay. That looks like an enemy, so we will be surfacing now. Or as soon as we can. Oh boy. Adam's Way. On a bed of monumental ruins, warehouses and way stations of shroom timber rise. All ships that approach Adam's Way are intercepted by the gracious, the Presbyterian's splendidly head-dressed coastguards. A quaint but inviolable tradition governs entry. You must tell them one of 3 stories. In return, you will be permitted to spend a single day at port. So recent news would work, but since we don't have that, I'd rather not give you the unread log. Or one port report of Mount Palmerston. Okay, I'd really rather not give them the unread log because that comes up in different times, and these other things that we could give them would be better. So we'll come back with either a port report of Mount Palmerston or recent news. Okay, the zoner said that it picked up a settlement some distance to the north. Here's hoping that we managed to find that. Okay, Nook. Still not hideaway. Of course it isn't. Seriously, where the hell is that place? Apparently it's Nook, at least, is right next to Rack. Let's see. The edge of Nook. A gap in this colossal Z-monster's throat has been forced open with thick heart metal beams. They strain under the pressure, but hold. As you pass through, your submarine lights pass over a message carved in a floating piece of some unfortunate hull. Beyond is Nook, beyond is freedom, beyond is the rest is scratched out. Water pressure presses against the airlock door. The breathing and slithering of the beast gives it the rhythm of a drumbeat. You don your heavy diving suit and give the order to cycle the airlock. Water rushes in, and you begin the slow swim down into the port. It soon becomes obvious that you are overdressed for the occasion. The people of Nook swim and breathe in the cloudy maw water with no apparent discomfort. Most are naked, with just a few clad in rotten rags that stream from their skin with no concern for modesty. None will communicate with you, if they even can. Those who acknowledge your presence just laugh silently at your bulky suit and unnecessary air hose. You'll need a different approach. descend naked into Nook. At least you're unlikely to run into anyone you know. You undress, every button, every stitch. The door opens, ice-cold water rushes upwards. Instinct holds your mouth shut. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. Your lungs burn, holding in that last gulp of air. Your legs thrash. You can't hold it in. It escapes. You're choking on water. It forces its way into your lungs, the taste of burning salt suffocating every attempt to gasp, scream, or... Then, through the exhaustion and panic, you realize you're breathing. It's hard work. Your lungs fight against the weight, but it's enough. You can tolerate it, at least for now. The liberal application of wine will make this process easier. In future, bring a cask. Well, good news, I have some. The beast quivers with distaste at your trespass. The waves are flecked with light. An occurrence. Your Nook, a taste of freedom quality is now 3. Your tolerance for Nook water quality is now also 3. We're going to compile a port report. No one here has anything to hide. Actually, no one here is hiding anything at all. Notes on Nook. A vile place. Festering. Acidic. No laws but those of tooth and claw, written in scars. Civilization? Impossible. Making tea would be a logistical impossibility. Yet the inhabitants seem content. Many have come here from London, the Khanate, the Presbyteriate, abandoning cultured life for this tenuous existence. They grin, their mouths full of stolen flesh, or float naked and carefree. Many have nothing, and nothing to lose. A group of swimmers dart past, hunting gleefully. One squeezes your shoulder, companionably. You've never met her before. Okay, we're going to swim upwards to the Great Maw. A twitching cathedral of ivory, flesh, and decay. The maw curves far enough to be swallowed by the darkness of the sea. Entire shipwrecks have been mulched between hooked teeth that dwarf London's mightiest monuments. Okay, I guess the more we hang out here, the more our taste of freedom quality goes up, the more likely we are to succeed at some of these challenges. For now, we should probably do other stuff. Investigate an etched tooth house. A flinty Latinudarian keeps its upper cavities filled with compressed air, allowing a number of activities that would otherwise be impossible in watery Nook. The external surface of the tooth is covered with engravings, rows of battling soldiers, some with the heads of dogs, a mountain ablaze, ships riding on a river, and each ship has a human mouth. You swim inside and up to the chambers of eggy air. In the cavities of his etched tooth home, trapped in air pockets, allow an activity largely forsaken in Nook, conversation. A handful of Nook folk gather here to reminisce. Brevity is admired, the air is precious and rapidly fouls. The Lieutenarian watches and listens. He keeps a merciless peace within his house and cares not a damn for what happens outside of it. Okay, this is another place where we could trade in recent news, but we don't have any of that. So returning to the Great Maw. Gaze up through the maw. Not many sailors have seen the Z from this angle. Crunching, writhing beauty. Light glitters where the false stars shine on the surface of the Z, framed by the maw's dormant teeth. How ancient is this creature? What happens if it swallows? Swim down to the ruptured throat. Swim down again to the serrated abyss. Down here the water is cloudy, its green streaked by dissipating patches of coppery red. Only a few teeth still protrude from the walls. Instead, razor-sharp hairs line them, rippling gently in the current. Trade soulless fruit for phosphorant nodules. Okay. Sample some nookweed. A circle of Nook folk scrape what looks like thin algae from the smaller teeth and chew it like snuff. Their eyes flutter, then bulge, brimming with visions. Take a moment's rest. Oh, this swimming is exhausting. Or swim downwards further. A niche within Nook. These deeper Nook folk either lack the confidence or strength to take a tooth for a home. Instead, they make use of the beast walls. You follow their example. A bit of floating scrap, just sharp enough, slices through the flesh and exposes the soft tissue behind. You slide your legs into the warm meat and sinew, trying not to gag at the sudden rush of blood. The muscle clamps shut around your legs and chest. It would be hard to pull yourself out, but unlikely that you'd find yourself floating defenseless up to the scavengers above or down into the depths of the stomach, and it is warm, warm as a moist blanket. Against your better judgment, your eyes close. Okay, drowning. No, not drowning exactly. You have air, but the water is too heavy. Your lungs scream with the effort. You have to get back to the zup. You know you can breathe, but it doesn't help. You kick furiously with your legs, pushing with agonizing slowness towards the bright light of your submarine's main beam. The airlock. Home. Air again. How refreshing. You swim into the airlock and alert the crew. Air flows in. You retch the last of the Nook water from your lungs. Good. All is well. Anything that happened in Nook shall remain in Nook.